Hello, and welcome to a full edition of the Cheap Seats. Been beating myself for a while, talking random things, but now we've got a full house. We've got the guys from who support that one team that keeps on losing games that they shouldn't be losing. But anyway, we'll talk about that later on. Remember, you can follow us on One World Sports Radio's YouTube platform, as well as subscribe to our follow us also on Twitter and on Facebook. We're live on those platforms, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got World Cup cricket coming up, so do click the notification bell, because whenever South Africa play, we'll be live. So that's quite exciting if you like to deal with your heartbreak in a similar way of a death of 1,000 cuts or 100 cuts, depending on how you want to do it. So we've got Waheed, we've got AB, we've got Dean. Waheed and AB, I'll start with Waheed. How are you guys doing?
Not great. I've been better.
It's an open-ended question.
I know, right? But you're looking very snazzy in your retro Umbro United date night drip.
Date night drip. This is a 10 out of 10 kit, by the way. Literally, straight up 10 out of 10.
All I'm gonna say is, if you can go with that outside on a date with your wife, then yeah, it's 10 out of 10.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try this weekend and see the reaction.
Oh, you let us know next week. AB, how's it going? Ole getting you a little bit flustered there?
I just realized that I'm wearing city blue right now. And I think that says everything, guys. That says
Don't worry,
everything.
today I realized that our technical director, Darren Fletcher, has both his sons in the City Academy because...
Bigger club in Manchester.
Well, yes, it's a bigger club in Manchester.
Why would you not send your kids there? You're just trying to look out for their well-being.
Yeah. Or his kids are really bad. That's the other thing. So today's topic, gents, we saw this weekend Manchester United. It hasn't been the best of seasons, but this weekend was a bit of a, I don't know if it was a low point, but it felt like it was a bottom of the barrel point where Leicester City just came through and just outballed Manchester United, outclassed them, and put 4 goals away. On a team that should be title contending at the beginning of the season, we thought the addition of Ronaldo, even though they didn't have a defensive midfielder, could make Manchester United a title contender. But even though the top 3 are losing games and doing whatever they want to do up there, Manchester United are finding themselves in a very precarious position. And so today we ask the question, and the question is Ole in or is he out? And we know that in July he got a 3-year extension. Waheed, where do you stand on this? Are the problems in Manchester United Ole based, or are they somewhere else?
It's a hard question. So, historically, I've been a big supporter of Ole, and I am still to this day a big fan of the work he's done for Man United since he's come in. Let's get this straight. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done a very good job till this point. With the task he was given, with inheriting a very broken squad from Mourinho, with inheriting a squad where there was a lack of unity, a lack of harmony, and almost inheriting a broken club in terms of Man United having lost its identity and I say philosophy, identity, a bunch of other things. I think Ole's done a very good job to get us to this point, and the squad is in a lot better state than it was probably when he inherited it. Actually, I think that goes without saying. I went to a game in 2019 when Tuanzebe played left back. Ashley Young was the right back. We had Andreas Pereira on the right wing. And that was my first experience of Old Trafford. And that was the team I inherited, because it was his first few months in the job.
Didn't Welbeck score that day?
It was 1-1. We played Arsenal. McTominay scored.
I know, that's why.
So what I'm saying is that he's done a very good job to this point. And the question now goes to whether he is able to take the squad up a notch. So he now has a team that should be challenging for the Premier League. And I'm never going to be here and call for Ole's head, because I am a fan of him. He is a club legend, and I think he deserves a semblance of respect from us as fans for not only the work he's done, but also for his playing career at the club. And so I'm never going to sit here and say Ole out. I'm never, ever going to do that. But I'm now starting to question, and this weekend was the first time, I'm starting to question whether he's going to be the man to take us up to the next level, to take us to challenge City, Chelsea, and Liverpool for the title. Whether that's a coaching issue, I'm not sure. I don't spend any time on the training ground, and I don't understand this Twitter idea that the coaching isn't good enough, because we don't know what the technical staff do on a day-to-day basis, and we don't know, sitting outside the bubble of Carrington, how that differs to other clubs. We're simply not in a position to make that sort of call. All we can do is judge what the manager puts out on the weekend. And so I'm not sure about this whole idea.
So can I ask, judging what the managers put out on the weekend over these past couple of days, couple of games, Everton wasn't the best of games, even though he did bench Ronaldo. West Ham, you needed De Gea penalty save to kind of get you guys out of that situation. The Leicester game was horrible to watch for you. But how do you judge him from what he puts out?
Again, I can't comment on the coaching. I can comment on the tactics. I don't think the tactics have been right. I think what we can say is that if you're talking about the Everton, yes, it was a difficult game to watch, but I will say this, the first 60 minutes were our best, most cohesive time of the season. That was the best I've seen us play, whether we were winning or not. That was the most cohesive I've seen us play. I will also comment that was the time Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't on the field. So I think that's another conversation to have about what's happened with Cristiano Ronaldo coming into the side, and whether there's a certain dynamism lost because of him being the focal point of this attack. But that is something that Ole and his coaches have to deal with. They've made the decision to push the boat out and get Ronaldo in, and they need to work with that if they want a dynamic forward line of Sancho, Rashford, Greenwood, and Cavani to come in, because Cavani is a very dynamic player, as we saw in his cameo against Villarreal, where they need to determine how a player less dynamic and a poacher like Ronaldo fits into that. They also need to determine how to fit basically 5 forwards, because if you count Pogba, who is not a central midfielder, he is absolutely not a central midfielder. He does not have the defensive discipline or discipline at all to play central midfield. He was the laziest player and the worst player on the field on the weekend by far. So to fit Pogba, Fernandes, and 3 forwards into the team, the coaches and tactical team and tactical staff need to find a way of doing that. Otherwise, someone needs to bench, or 2 players need to bench, whether that's Ronaldo, whether that's Pogba. Pogba is actually creating a big problem. At the end of last season, we stumbled upon him playing on the left-hand side and allowing McFred to shield the defense. This weekend, we saw why that's necessary. Pogba can't play in a 2-man midfield at all. It's not going to happen. We were open. We were an absolute mess. The man doesn't track back. The man has no marking ability. So if he's going to play in a 2-man midfield, because the fact is Bruno plays every game. He's one of our best players. So which means that if Pogba plays, he either has to play in central midfield or on the left wing. Problem is we've now gone and dropped 80 million on Jadon Sancho. So you can't exactly now be playing Pogba on the wing to the detriment of Sancho, Greenwood, or Rashford.
Okay.
To think about.
So here's the thing for you, AB. Obviously, Waheed's calling for Pogba to be benched, but Pogba is the assist leader in the Premier League right now with 7. Bruno's created the most chances for Manchester United. Shaw has created the most chances from set pieces, and you've got CR7. Are you more inclined to be Ole out based on what the resources that he has, the squad? Because I would look at the squad and I'm like, could another coach be better and do better with the squad?
It's a fair question. Could another coach be better and do better with the squad? And I think, without looking at any evidence as to like who would come in, you know, the obvious Twitter answer is yes, because everyone's the greatest manager in the world or greatest chairman on Twitter. But what worries me is that how is another coach going to come in and fix our spine, our defense, which right now looks like, I mean, I could score against this United defense.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, really, like, guys, it's. I think that's our biggest problem right now in looking at Harry Maguire since the Euros. It hasn't really been. I mean, looking at any England player since the Euros, hasn't been, up there.
Jude Bellingham, leave
performance-wise.
Jude out of this conversation.
Okay.
He's thriving in Dortmund.
Fair enough, but any English player can thrive in Dortmund. We've seen it with Sancho. The Bundesliga is a completely different league to the Premier League. We saw it with Pulisic. To be fair, we did. Coming from Germany or going to Germany and then coming back is a completely different sort of thing. So I think Waheed had a great little tidbit there, his little 8 minutes worry about where Ollie's been, what he's done, and I really resonate with him. Who's the coach who's going to come in and fix this Man United team? Is it going to be Antonio Conte? God, I hope not. Because we will see a back three.
Yes, that's what you want to see.
Look, I personally want to see a back three, but I don't want to see Conte's back three. Because Antonio Conte, in my mind, is just...
Okay, let me ask
against everything.
100 goals in Serie A last season, just to put to bed the idea that Conte is a defensive coach. I'm not a fan of Conte, but we need to put that idea to bed. He isn't a defensive coach. He's not Diego.
Yeah. If you play a back three, your only problem is who your right wing back is. That's your only problem.
We don't have a right wing back.
That's fine. You can figure out a situation. You can put Alex Telles on the right. But
no, man, we can't. You can't put.
No, but watching this weekend, it screamed this team needs to play in a back three up until they can 100%. Find a defensive midfielder, because at least you still keep that whole we're united, we play with some wide players, and you can have Sancho on the one side, you can have Greenwood on the other side, and then you can have Bruno inside there in that little midfield with McFred, however you want to play it. But it kind of feels as though that's probably the best way to go, because I look at Liverpool this weekend and I'm like, even with McFred, I don't know. And Dean, you are on the outside of this. Obviously, you and I are all in, because it seems like this team
it's the best
keep on bungling things and messing it up. But they are still like a point away from the top four. It's not like panic stations right now. It's just that they're leaving points on the table when they should be going up. So is it more like we expect United to be better because of who they have?
I think it's exactly that. And if you look at the Premier League table, United's behind Spurs. And I mean, you look at Spurs and all the shambles that are going on at our club, and yet we are ahead of you. And not only that, we've played tougher teams. And that's the thing that worries me the most about United. If I was a United fan, I'd be Ollie out. But the point that I want to make is they've played Leeds, which is very not the team of last season, so anyone can go there and score. Southampton, Wolves, West Ham, Villa, Everton, and now Leicester. And those are all games. Newcastle. Those are all games you expect United to win, which they have won some of them, but they are teams that you would expect United to blow away, especially given the team that they have with CR7, with Sancho, with all of the, Varane now at the back. I know he's injured, but there's a lot of strength in that squad, which you would expect to blow over some of these teams, which isn't happening. And I think that is more the worrying sign if I was a United fan of now you're going into a period where you're playing a Chelsea, you're playing City, you're playing Spurs, you're playing Atalanta. It's now Liverpool. You now get a tough run of fixtures. And now I think those frailties which were there are going to be found out even more so. And I think that's the problem with United fans is they've come off a run where they should have done better anyway. They haven't done better. And I think if you have a look, and obviously everyone's on Twitter, everyone's having a look at the stuff, and you have a look, and someone sent me something from work, and I just wanted to tell everyone about. So everyone, if you have a look at the players that Solskjaer has, right, there's no one will sit here and say that 100% United's defense is okay. Everyone knows that United's defense is a problem. Everyone knows the defensive midfield is an issue, right? If you have a look at some of the other coaches, so just what it says is, so Pep got 100 points with Dolph at left back, right? When he was playing there. Klopp got to a Champions League final with a Lovren or Karius goalkeeper. Tuchel won the Champions League without a reliable goal scorer. World-class coaches don't need a perfect 11. Their tactical structure helps cover weaknesses. And I think that's the point where United fans need to realize 100% you've got issues, but world-class coaches can either cover it to a point where it's okay or kind of get by with the players they have. And that's the problem. They're playing in a formation where they just aren't getting the results. They have players which should be doing the goods, but are just not doing them. And if you have a look at that squad, even on the weekend, I mean, Maguire, I don't know why Maguire was rushed back, whatever reason it may be, but that's a staffing decision. That's a coaching decision. And Maguire was at fault for 3-4 of those goals.
4.
So that's why.
No, man, be 3 or even 2.
A lot of a lot of the decisions that are being made, and a lot of the reasons why, from an outsider perspective, United are doing badly, is because of the coaching decisions that are being made. And whether or not someone else can come in and do a better job, I think they can. And obviously, like I saw today, Ronaldo's recommended Zidane, and there's all those stories are going to start happening.
That's a trap.
It's probably not true, but if those are already rumors, he just needs to go get beat by Atalanta and Liverpool on the weekend, and we're going to have a very interesting conversation next week on Cheap Seats about Ole. So,
having said that, United are a strange bunch where
and they can bounce.
They tend to struggle against relegation fodder and come out absolutely flying against Liverpool, against City. Like that has been the Ole United in a nutshell, insofar as that he struggles to get teams to break to break down low blocks, and against teams like Liverpool, against City, when they come at you, United can actually pick them off. So I wouldn't be completely surprised for us to go beat Liverpool or for us to go beat City or Spurs in a couple of weeks. So that wouldn't be surprising. I must be honest. The problem, I think, where United started, and I don't think this is necessarily an Ole thing. My personal feeling, and you Oaks can laugh at me for this, is that this inability to beat teams who are below us in the league stems from the Mourinho era, where he gave up on the league. At some point, he started not caring about the league, and he started prioritizing Europa League in order to get Champions League. And I think it created a very bad mentality in the squad, where certain games meant more than other games. So where we were willing to sacrifice Premier League games in order to win the Europa League, I think that created a very bad mentality. And that, I think that mentality has stayed within the squad, that not all games are important, which is awful. At a club like United, every single game is important.
But for a club that has a man who effectively has kicked dessert off the menu, and a serial winner in Cristiano Ronaldo, I would have expected that to have gone. And Ole's been there for 3 years. The thing for me that I'm kind of a little worried. Okay, I wouldn't be worried. Like previous season, I wasn't too worried, but now I'm sitting here going, okay, against the Leicester team that didn't play a low block against you, that actually went up against you. The biggest issue is bringing in Cristiano has possibly changed your defensive shape. Your pressing is slightly off. It isn't. You're not pressing from deep. And we know Pogba's a frailty, but effectively now you have two passengers that you're carrying on a defensive end, being Paul and Cristiano, and it kind of needs Ole to make that ballsy decision he did the last time in benching Cristiano or in benching Paul Pogba. I think Paul Pogba was an easier one to do, but I think United have reached a point where they have to make hard decisions, because if these run of games up until you've got 3 more games until the next international window, and it's Liverpool, City, and Spurs. if you lose two of them, you effectively find yourself 8 points behind the champions, where you're already 4 points. You could be 12 points behind the leaders, and your season is gone. And so I'd like for some pragmatism, and I don't understand why I'm asking for pragmatism from Manchester United. But the question for you, AB, is what do you want from these next 3 games? That will give you confidence that Ole is still on the right track.
So I want to see 2 things. So from Ole, I want to see him take risks with team selection and tactics. So I want to see him go with the left field thing, like dropping a Pogba, like dropping a Ronaldo in favor of Cavani or in favor of McTominay. Sort of players that I need to see him give this sort of indication that he's the boss and it's his decisions, and he doesn't care who you are, what your name is, what your number is. He's going to make the decision for the greater benefit of the team. Is that going to be starting Donny over Bruno? Who knows? Whatever. But then I also want to see some desire from the players. There are far too many players out there who aren't going into that 50-50 challenge, who aren't sticking or putting their body on the line, who aren't working harder than a 34-year-old who's just flown back from Uruguayan international duty. I'm really upset that we sold a guy like Dan James, and I understand why we sold him. But Dan James, to me, well, I mean, Dan James works harder than any winger we have. He may not be as sexy as Mason Greenwood, but he works hard, and I want to see that sort of work ethic. Yeah, but I mean, this is the United. I mean, United scored 2 brilliant goals on the weekend just based on individual brilliance. Goals that tactically didn't come about.
But Waheed, isn't that what the plan was supposed to be this year? We won't be good defensively, but we've got game breakers. You've got Mason, whose left foot is just insane, all right, whatever it is.
I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Why are we saying that we're not going to be good defensively when we've got a £200 million defense?
The people in front of them are a whole that kind of
got the worst Brazilian
ever.
I must be honest. Like I don't buy into that. That to me, I'm sorry for my French, is a load of shit.
No.
You've got Varane, you've got Maguire,
but you're not good defensively. That's the point.
Like you've got a very defensive right back, and you've got the best left back on the planet. Why are we just accepting bad defending?
Okay. Yes, but yeah, so then is it Ole's? So
yeah,
exactly. Who's
I don't know.
You can't be upset about something and then
but it's a combination, surely.
No. I'm saying that we can't go into the season. I'm not saying that we went into the season just expecting to score more than the other teams. I don't understand that. I honestly think that that the expectation of Man United should not be that we'll just score more, guys. Like we need to build on solid defensive structures. And yeah, and that's what, and then we come to what Dean says, is that if Chelsea can win the Champions League without a striker, surely we can win a game against Leicester without like a naturally brilliant defensive midfielder.
But you can't though. But that's the problem.
So I mean, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Okay, so Ole wanted a defensive right back, he got it. Ole wanted Harry Maguire, he got him. He wanted Varane, he got him. So defensively, we've given Ole his signings. It's now onto him to make that back four work, or back five. You can put Lindelof there.
The problem is, and I saw it last night with Arsenal. If your defensive midfielders don't, or your attacking midfielders don't come back, it makes your defensive midfielders seem very vulnerable to attacks, because somehow Yuri Tielemans just sits behind Paul Pogba and just nips the ball away, and all of a sudden Maguire's in trouble.
Bruno Fernandes, pressing and tracking can't be something that's thrown at him. He works his ass off every game.
We're not fighting. It's just that your defensive structure has holes in it, and it was, you had identified it correctly at the beginning of the season to say we're not there yet because we don't have that defensive midfielder, because A, nobody seems to want Fred in the world, and B, you guys weren't sold on Scott McTominay being defensive. So it was one of those situations where, okay, fine, I can throw 5 attackers at a team and hope that on whatever day, because Bruno creates the most amount of chances, you've got CR7, and Mason Greenwood seems to shoot on sight, will carry you through, but it's not enough anymore. And so that's where the issue lies, because it's not only a defensive issue, it's now, wait, why isn't this team that's creating the most amount of chances in the league not scoring? And so that's where the question is something wrong in the dugout, or is it a cohesion thing? Maybe guys have gone on too many international breaks, or maybe guys are tired from Euro. But it speaks to what's happening at Carrington and something slightly off. Just like how, if you look at Chelsea right now, something truly is off because Lukaku's not getting the ball. So when I look at that, I'm like, that's not how you expect a Chelsea that spent, I don't know how much Russian money they spent to bring Lukaku in. So for me, that's where the issue lies. But we can park this discussion. All I'm going to ask you, Waheed, is what do you want to see on Sunday? Because I know what I want to see, and I think Dean knows.
I want to see Salah run around. You must run at Maguire and Shaw and give them a lesson, because that is what's going to happen.
Well, we'll see. So over the next couple of weeks, I want to see us win some games. Please, something, anything.
Score goals.
I want to see some goals. I want to be entertained. I don't want to be like wanting to break my TV at the end of the game. I'd like to see Ole be a bit brave and chuck players out if they're not performing. Hashtag Paul Pogba.
And Harry Maguire.
Sorry?
Wait, so Harry Maguire goes out. That's Eric Bailly time,
You're
right?
going to play Lindelof and Bailly.
Yes.
And have Salah running at him like he did at Danny Rose.
Maguire was injured. Okay, he's not that is not a structural problem with a player not playing in the right position. My problems with Pogba are that he's fucking lazy. Okay, anyway.
Okay, but here's my thing, right? Do you think, does Ole then go back to a McFred midfield and just hit on the counter? Because that's the easy way out.
There was nothing wrong with that. There was nothing
Okay,
wrong with
but then,
that.
Yes,
which has worked so far, right? Will it work against Chelsea? Will it work against Liverpool? Will it work against Spurs? Will it work against Atalanta? Spurs, 100%. Kante won't let you have the ball. Kante won't let you have the ball. Or Kovacic. Liverpool won't.
Ole's record against the big six is actually phenomenal. And he goes into every single game with McFred. There is a correlation there.
But what I'm saying is, do you think that's... So we're all saying, drop Ronaldo, be brave. You guys know sitting here, he's not going to do that. He's going to go McFred in the middle, hits on the counter, and then that's United's way of playing football.
No, but that is being brave.
I want to see McFred, I want to see Bruno ahead of them, and I want to see Sancho, Greenwood, and Rashford.
That is
and Ronaldo
brave.
giving coaching advice. Is that what you want?
Go.
Do you want Ronaldo in the dugout saying, guys, run left?
At this point, a dynamic forward line might be better for United than a static coach.
So do you agree that you only signed Ronaldo just so he didn't go to City?
Pretty much, I think so.
No, Dean, that's not fair. That is not fair.
That is 100% fair.
I think
No. We signed him so we can do a poster every single day.
For Sporting Lisbon, United wouldn't have gotten involved.
I think Tala said it, and it's 100% true. Ronaldo was a vibe signing. That's all he was.
It was
Guys, we signed him for clicks.
Jamie Carragher actually hit the nail on the head. He said that Ronaldo was a great signing for the Premier League, but not necessarily for Man United.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
as long as you guys can say that.
I celebrated it a lot on Twitter. The CR7 is coming home. I did it on the show. And right now, I hope he proves me wrong, but I'm getting such strong Alexis Sanchez vibes from Ronaldo. I'm getting really strong Alexis Sanchez vibes there.
No, you did not.
It's just the wrong player in the wrong system at the wrong time.
But you guys understand then why the rest of the league laughs at you. You understand now why.
Look,
But people have been laughing at me my whole life. It's fine.
So I've got Arteta-sized problems. Dean has Nuno-sized problems. But man, oh man, Manchester United have Woodward and Ole-sized problems. And that's what we're going to call it for today. Enjoy the game this weekend. That Liverpool-Manchester United game is going to be either horrible for either myself or Dean, or something insane for the two on the left, on the right.
I just like to say, once upon a time, United were playing City, and Dean and I sat in the office. I think it was on Thursday and Friday, and we bantered like this for an hour and a half. Okay, on the Friday, and then on the Saturday, United went 2-0 down to City. And I think I counted 17 messages from Dean.
That's the time they turned it back. I remember that game.
And then with the blue hair, Chris Smalling.
I said, "Hi, Dean," and I got a message saying, "How much do refs cost?"
I remember that.
Okay.
I remember that.
Thank you very much, gents, for today and the show. Really enjoyed the Alexis Sanchez comment. Best one ever. If only Cristiano could actually play the piano. Outside of that, remember we've got an FPL show coming out tomorrow, where we give you guys a lot of information. Whereas I think everyone here is selling Ronaldo except for me. So we'll see how that goes. But outside of that, have a great week ahead. Enjoy that derby game on Sunday. And le sale, cacafiso.